So, why do so many YouTubers burn out? This is something that's definitely been on my mind the last little while because I'm only in my second year as a full-time YouTube content creator, and I really don't want to burn out. So if it's okay with you guys, I thought we'd sit down in this episode. No fancy B-roll, no angle changes to keep your attention, just me and you talking about this topic. So last week, I had the opportunity to fly all the way from Helsinki, Finland to San Diego, California for the Sony Camp. It was my first time ever at a creator event, which was really awesome because there's so many different YouTube content creators out there that you watch their videos and you feel like you know them, or even you send DM messages back and forth, but you've never been able to meet them in person. And now all of a sudden, everyone was in one place in the flesh. And it was really cool because in a way, you finally got to meet a lot of your own coworkers. Watching different YouTube content creators, you might get the impression that we're always out on a different adventure or hanging out with people. But the brutal reality is that 95% of the time, we're just by ourselves, coming up with video ideas, filming the ideas alone, editing alone, and it's actually very rare that you get to spend time with other people. So as an extreme extrovert like myself, it did really good for the soul to be all in one place with so many other amazing human beings who are just as passionate about YouTube and creating cool content as I am. So thank you, Sony, for creating this event and extending an invitation to myself. Honestly, I felt really honored to be there. But over the course of the week, there were so many interactions and conversations, and there was a lot of aha moments that I realized by being with these people in one place. I realized that just because you're a successful YouTube content creator, it doesn't mean that you don't have your own struggles. In fact, I feel like the bigger your YouTube channel is or the more successful you have, the struggles are actually just amplified. And when it comes to burnout, I really think there's three main reasons why so many YouTube content creators out there are burning out. So I think the first reason why so many YouTube content creators are burning out is loneliness. Every single person that I talked to during the Sony Camp kept mentioning or saying that their work feels so lonely. And it's crazy to think because we can be watching these YouTube content creators from afar and you see that they're so successful and they have so many subscribers, and we just assume in our brain that there's this huge team behind them and that they have so many coworkers to hang out with during their week. But like I said, the brutal honesty and truth is that as a YouTube content creator, most YouTube channels are doing it solo. They're coming up with their video ideas, they're filming, they're editing, they're doing it all by themselves. And often if they do have an editor, it's probably a remote editor or they have a remote person creating thumbnails. Very rarely does someone actually have a full-time person hired to work alongside them. And even if they do, there's still that awkward boss-employee relationship, and it's never really the same feeling as being coworkers with someone. And I think this lack of coworkers and interactions on a daily basis can really get to you, especially if you're an extrovert like me, but even as well for introverts. It's really healthy to take that 1-hour lunch break each day and just take a pause from doing work and just enjoy the moments with your coworkers. But as a YouTube content creator, you're not doing that. I know for myself, I'm often just grabbing food, eating it, and just continuing the work day. I'm trying to be as productive as possible in my 6 to 8 hour work day. But the honest truth is, you just can't be productive all day long. You need to take moments to just pause and be with people and just to enjoy life. So all this time spent alone as YouTube content creators, it can really become isolating. You can really get stuck in your head. And I think that's where reason number 2 for burnout comes. It's so easy when you're isolated and by yourself to start comparing people's highlight reel to your everyday normal life. For myself personally, as a creator of content, I am as well consuming lots of content. And the problem with that is that you're sitting in your office, maybe, editing or doing that mundane everyday work. And then all of a sudden your friend or your favorite YouTube content creator posts a video and you watch that video, or you're catching up on Instagram stories. And all of a sudden, your everyday life is being compared to people's highlight reels, their top moments in life. And even though logically my brain understands that what I'm watching right now probably isn't as great as I'm perceiving it, but it's really hard to separate your brain from your heart because you can so easily just feel like, my life is so crappy, this person's doing that, or this person's reaching that success moment. And it's just so easy to compare yourself. And if I'm honest, it can feel really depressing. thinking. Even if your life is actually going really well, the moment your brain starts comparing someone else's highlight reel to your everyday life, it's tough. And I also find that my brain's not just comparing when people are having a fun, epic time, but as well it's comparing to people's productivity and success. You see another person's put another video out, or they're getting more subscribers or views, or they got that brand deal, or they got invited to that event, and all of a sudden, not only are you comparing people's fun moments, but as well you're comparing people's success moments. And you're not just comparing, your life to one other person's life, you're comparing your life to multiple people's lives, so it's just amplified more and more. When you're isolated and you're comparing yourself to others, it can become so toxic and you really lose sight of what you got going on. Because of course that person's highlight reel is gonna crush your everyday life. It's an unfair advantage. There's that quote that comparison is the thief of joy. And I think it's so true in our lives. Technically, you can have everything so good in your life, but the moment you start comparing yourself to others and you see that someone else got something bigger or better, or they're experiencing something more fun or epic, all of a sudden it feels like what you have is nothing. And that's what isolation does. It leads to comparison and you end up just so miserable. And the last reason why I think so many YouTube content creators are burning out is just this never-ending workload. It was so interesting to notice even at the Sony Camp. People had literally flown in from all over the world. Maybe once a year they get to come together and hang out with all their friends and just be inspired. And still, throughout this whole week, I could sense that everyone felt this inner pressure where you're like, is it okay for me just to hang out and enjoy this week? Or should I create a video about the new Sony ZV-E1? And there's just this dialogue going on in your brain where it's like, well, if I do just hang out, well, am I gonna miss out on this new opportunity to grow my channel? Or am I gonna miss out on the views because this new camera is gonna be very popular? Or what's Sony gonna think that if you don't create any content from this week? But at the same time, these moments are really rare for creators to come together. Most content creators maybe see each other once or twice a year, and this would be that moment to just pause and enjoy and be refreshed, but still same time you're feeling this tug towards just working harder and being more productive and growing your channel. And I think that's the huge struggle of YouTube and being a content creator, because you can always do more. There's no rule or that the meter is full, because you can always create more videos. And nowadays there's long form, there's short form, and you can be posting on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. We got Vero now. There's so many platforms where we should be present and growing them in order to be successful, but it can just become a lot. Being a YouTube content creator is really different than many other jobs where you can physically see what you've accomplished. If you're a carpenter and you build a house, you start the project and you finish and voila, you've built a house. But as a YouTube content creator, yeah, you're creating this channel and you're seeing the subscribers grow, but you kind of get numb to it. And it can kind of feel like this never-ending loop of just working more and more. And just talking to all these different creators at the Sony Camp, it just made me realize that, wow, a lot of us have really unhealthy habits and we work way too much. So I've talked a lot about the problems or challenges of being a YouTube content creator, what causes burnout, but what are some of the solutions? And there's probably a whole bunch of other solutions, and I really want to open up the door, and feel free to comment below what you found has helped you in your journey of being a content creator or a full-time YouTuber, or as well what you've been struggling with, because I would love to just in this community help each other out. But I think if there's one thing that I can share as a content creator that's helping me is community. Having people to share your thoughts with, what you're excited about, what you're struggling, what you're facing, and also people to keep you accountable. Because we all know it's so easy to fool ourselves. Now, probably many of you guys right now are saying to yourselves, but no one lives near me. And that's the same situation for me. I live in Seinäjoki, Finland. It's in the middle of Finland, so far away from, creative hubs like Helsinki or other countries where there's a lot of content creators out there. But I've decided that I don't want that to stop me from building community around me. And it's often really simple ideas. Like, often I've been having these virtual lunches. So friends like Peter Lindgren, I'll just message him and be like, hey, you wanna have lunch today? We'll both grab food, we'll put on FaceTime, and then we just talk and catch up and just enjoy friendship and community. And it sounds so simple, but it's honestly been so effective for us. Or then other times we've created these different meetups where we just fly all together to one place and just spend a whole weekend together. And literally during that weekend, you're just so refreshed and you have so many new ideas and maybe things you've been stuck with or struggling with. All of a sudden, you just be able to break through those roadblocks because you've had people to be with in community. So I've been rambling for a long time, but I guess I just want to talk about this topic because it's honestly so sad to see people burning out doing what they first fell in love with, but now it ends up being the reason why they burn out. And I think that's why it's so important that we have community, people around us to encourage us, to listen to us, and just to, help each other out, because we're just not meant to do this life alone. So if burnout is something you're facing right now, or you're noticing that you're on the verge of facing, surround yourself with people. Start making healthier decisions to have a healthier work-life balance, and have people keep you accountable. Have people ask you, hey, have you ended your work day? Have you gone to the gym? Are you sleeping? Are you eating healthy? All these really basic things in life that are going to help you be healthy and to do the marathon and not the sprint. Yeah, that's all I had on my mind. I wanted to sit down and talk with you guys. I feel like I should do this more often because I'm often thinking about a lot of these topics, but I'm often wondering how can I bring them forth on this YouTube channel. But the whole week at Sony Camp, I just kept thinking about this topic and I really wanted to share it with you guys. So love to hear what you guys are experiencing, what you're thinking, solutions to prevent burnout. And I'll be in the comment section.